So get this. We're diving deep into DeepSeek AI R1 today. And wow. You send over a ton of articles and notes on this, and this AI is seriously making waves. It's open source,
Yeah.
which is already a game changer, but it goes even deeper than that.
Yeah, what's really interesting about DeepSeek R1 is it's like flipping the whole AI development model on its head. Traditionally, big tech companies, they've been calling the shots, keeping their AI models kind of secret. But DeepSeek, it's like turn over the door and say, everybody, come join the party.
So it's not just about using AI. It's about giving everyone the power to actually mess with it,
Yeah.
right? Like handing out a set of, super advanced tools
Yeah.
and saying, go build something incredible.
Yeah, exactly. That's the core of it. And, this whole shift to open source, it has huge implications. I mean, we could see like an explosion of innovation
Yeah.
coming from all sorts of unexpected places, not just the usual big tech players.
One article even mentioned that DeepSeek R1 is already being used for some really wild stuff, like tracking disease outbreaks, doing real-time translation in disaster zones.
Yeah.
It seems like the potential applications are limitless.
Yeah, it really is amazing. The diversity of applications is just astounding. And this is just the beginning. One of the things I find most fascinating is the modular block system DeepSeek uses to build AI models. Imagine like snapping together virtual Lego bricks, except these bricks represent powerful AI functions.
Okay, that's a pretty cool visual. So you're saying even someone who's not like a coding whiz could potentially build
Yeah,
a sophisticated AI system using DeepSeek.
absolutely. That's the whole beauty of it, this modular approach. You don't have to be a coding genius to experiment and innovate with DeepSeek. It's designed to be user-friendly, so even people with limited technical expertise can explore and build complex AI systems.
That's huge in terms of accessibility. But I'm curious about the hardware requirements. I always assumed cutting-edge AI needed like massive computing power.
That's another area where DeepSeek R1 really surprises people. It's incredibly efficient. You don't need those super expensive, high-powered systems. A pretty modest setup can handle it. And this is a big deal because it opens doors for smaller teams, startups, researchers. Anyone with a good idea and a decent computer can get involved.
So DeepSeek is powerful, accessible, and affordable. This is starting to sound like the holy grail of AI development. I'm also curious about its impact on education. One article mentioned something about high school students using DeepSeek to create their own AI projects. Is that really happening?
It is. It's already happening. DeepSeek is making AI education way more accessible and engaging. Imagine classrooms where students are learning about AI by actually building and experimenting with it. Instead of just reading textbooks, it's incredibly inspiring to see.
That's such a good point. Giving young people the tools to understand and shape AI is crucial. But it's not just about the younger generation, right? DeepSeek can empower people from all walks of life to engage with this technology.
Absolutely. The potential for lifelong learning and skill development with DeepSeek is huge. It could revolutionize the way we approach education and training across so many fields.
Okay, so we've talked about the open source nature, the modular design,
Hmm.
and the impact on education. But what about the potential downsides? Every powerful tool has two sides, right? What are some of the concerns people have about DeepSeek?
You're right. With any revolutionary technology, there are always concerns. One of the biggest ones is the possibility of misuse. If anyone can access and modify this powerful AI, what's to stop it from falling into the wrong hands?
That's a valid concern for sure. How is the DeepSeek community addressing that risk? We can't just ignore the potential for negative consequences.
What's interesting is that the DeepSeek community is very proactive about these challenges. They're constantly working on safeguards and encouraging responsible development.
So it's not a build it and forget it mentality. There's a sense of shared responsibility within the DeepSeek community to ensure that it's used ethically and for the greater good.
Exactly. They've created a culture of transparency, where anyone can scrutinize the code, identify potential issues, and contribute to solutions. It's an ongoing conversation and collaboration, which is really reassuring.
I'm really intrigued by this transparency aspect. In one of the articles, they use the term black box to describe traditional AI models, which honestly sounds a bit ominous. Can you explain what that means and how DeepSeek is different?
Sure. The black box analogy refers to how the inner workings of traditional AI systems are often hidden. You feed in data, you get an output, but the process in between is a mystery. Even the developers might not fully understand how the AI is making its decisions.
That does sound a bit unsettling, especially when you think about AI being used in fields like healthcare or finance, where the stakes are really high.
You're absolutely right, and that's why the transparency of DeepSeek is so crucial. Having the code open to everyone means we can actually understand how the AI works, identify potential biases, and then address them collaboratively.
So it's like bringing AI out of the shadows and into the light, where everyone can examine it and contribute to its development.
Exactly. And this open approach is already leading to some pretty remarkable innovations.
I'm definitely eager to hear more about those innovations. And I'm also curious about the bigger picture here. If AI development becomes truly democratized, what are the implications for society as a whole?
That's a really big question, one that goes far beyond just the technology itself. It touches upon everything from education and the job market to ethics and even the very future of humanity.
We've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our DeepSeek deep dive, but it feels like we're just getting started. There's so much more to explore and unpack here.
Yeah, absolutely. We've only just scratched the surface of DeepSeek's potential. Before we dive into those broader societal implications, I'm curious to hear what's piqued your interest the most so far. What's really stood out to you?
Honestly, it's just the sheer range of possibilities that DeepSeek unlocks. It feels like we're witnessing a paradigm shift, where AI is no longer confined to, specialists and tech giants. It's becoming a tool for everyone, and that's both exhilarating and a bit daunting at the same time.
I totally agree. It's like giving someone a paintbrush for the first time. You just never know what masterpiece they might create. And with DeepSeek, those masterpieces could take so many forms.
Yeah, one of the articles mentioned a project that was using DeepSeek to analyze endangered bird songs in the Amazon rainforest. They were able to develop an AI model that could identify different species with incredible accuracy, even in dense foliage. It's amazing how this technology is being used for conservation efforts.
It really is. That's a fantastic example of how DeepSeek is empowering people to tackle challenges in ways we never thought possible. It's enabling scientists, researchers, even citizen scientists to make meaningful contributions to fields like environmental conservation, healthcare, and education.
Speaking of education, I'm still kind of blown away by the idea of high schoolers building AI models. It makes me wonder, what does the future of learning look like in a world where AI tools like DeepSeek are readily available?
It's a fascinating question to think about. Imagine a world where learning is completely personalized, interactive, and driven by curiosity. DeepSeek could help create intelligent tutoring systems that adapt to each student's learning style and pace. It could also give students the power to actually design their own learning experiences, exploring subjects that truly ignite their passions.
So instead of passively absorbing information, students become active creators and explorers. That's a pretty radical departure from the traditional classroom model.
It is, and it holds so much potential. Imagine students using DeepSeek to build simulations, analyze data, and solve real-world problems in their communities. The boundaries between learning and doing would become blurred, fostering a generation of lifelong learners and innovators.
That's an incredible vision. But let's be realistic. Not every student is going to become an AI expert, right? Some people might feel intimidated by the technology or just lack the confidence to dive in.
That's a fair point. And it highlights the importance of education and accessibility. We need to make sure everyone has the opportunity to develop a basic understanding of AI, even if they don't aspire to be programmers or data scientists.
So it's not just about teaching technical skills, but also about fostering a broader AI literacy. People need to understand the potential benefits and risks of AI, regardless of their profession or background.
Exactly. AI literacy will be crucial in navigating the complex ethical and societal challenges that AI presents. It's about empowering everyone to participate in the conversation and shape the future of this technology.
Which brings us back to the question we posed earlier. If AI development becomes truly democratized, what will WE do with that power? It's a question with no easy answers, but it's one we need to grapple with as a society.
Absolutely. It's a question that demands our attention and careful consideration. The choices we make today will determine the trajectory of AI and its impact on our world.
Okay, I want to shift gears for a moment and talk about the practical side of things. We've talked a lot about the potential of DeepSeek, but I'm curious about the actual development process. What's it like to work with this platform?
Working with DeepSeek is surprisingly intuitive, even for those who aren't seasoned coders. The modular block system makes it really easy to experiment and build AI models. By connecting different functions, it's like piecing together a puzzle where each piece represents a specific AI capability.
So you don't need to start from scratch every time you want to build a new AI model. You can leverage existing modules and customize them to fit your needs.
Exactly. And the beauty of open source is that you can tap into the collective knowledge and creativity of the entire DeepSeek community. There's a vast library of pre-built modules that you can use as building blocks for your own projects.
It's like having a global team of collaborators working alongside you, constantly sharing new ideas and solutions.
That's a great way to put it, and it really highlights the collaborative spirit that drives the DeepSeek ecosystem.
We talked earlier about the transparency of DeepSeek and how it helps mitigate concerns about bias. Can you elaborate a bit on how that works in practice? How do you actually identify and address bias in an AI model?
Well, one of the key aspects is the ability to scrutinize the data that's being used to train the AI model. Biases can often creep in through biased data sets. So it's crucial to examine the data very carefully and make sure it's representative and diverse.
So it's not just about the algorithms themselves, but also about the data that fuels those algorithms.
Exactly. And with DeepSeek, everyone has the ability to examine the data sets, identify potential biases, and then work together to create more equitable and inclusive AI systems.
That's a really crucial point. AI has the potential to either amplify existing societal biases or help us create a more just and equitable world. It all depends on how we choose to develop and deploy it.
I couldn't agree more. The ethical implications of AI are profound, and DeepSeek provides a platform for having those crucial conversations and working towards solutions collectively.
We've talked about DeepSeek's impact on education, its role in conservation efforts, and its potential to revolutionize so many different fields. But I'm wondering, what about the potential downsides? What are some of the challenges or risks associated with this level of democratization?
That's a really important question to consider. As with any powerful tool, there are always potential risks. One concern is that DeepSeek could lower the barrier for malicious actors to create harmful AI applications. We need to be very vigilant about security and develop robust safeguards to prevent misuse.
So while open access and collaboration are crucial for innovation, we also need to be mindful of the potential for misuse and a delicate balance.
It is. And it requires a proactive approach the DeepSeek community is actively working on, developing ethical guidelines, fostering responsible development practices, and creating mechanisms for detecting and addressing potential threats.
It sounds like a continuous process of evolution and adaptation as we learn more about the capabilities and implications of this technology.
Exactly, and that's what makes this field so exciting and dynamic. We're all learning and evolving together, navigating uncharted territory, with a shared commitment to harnessing the power of AI for the greater good.
This has been an incredibly insightful exploration of DeepSeek AI R1. We've covered so much ground, but it feels like there's still so much more to discover. You know, it's crazy to think that just a few years ago, the idea of open source AI would sounded like something out of a movie. But now with DeepSeek R1, it's actually real. We've talked about its potential to change education and empower researchers, even protect endangered species. But I keep coming back to this bigger question. What does this shift towards democratized AI really mean for the future of work? Are robots going to start taking our jobs?
I think that's a question that's on a lot of people's minds these days. And it makes sense to be concerned about that. But I think instead of thinking about AI as like this job-stealing monster, it's more helpful to see it as a tool that can actually help us. You know, AI can augment human capabilities and even create new opportunities.
So instead of replacing humans altogether, AI will kind of work alongside us, helping us to be more efficient, more productive, more creative.
Exactly. Think about it. DeepSeek could give doctors the power to make more accurate diagnoses, help architects design more sustainable buildings, and even allow teachers to personalize learning for every student. It's all about using AI to enhance human ingenuity, not replace it.
That makes a lot of sense. But it does make you wonder, how do we prepare people for this AI-powered future? What skills are going to be most valuable in a world where AI is becoming more and more integrated into our jobs?
Well, I think things like adaptability, creativity, critical thinking, those are going to be more important than ever. We're going to need people who can think outside the box, solve complex problems, and work effectively with AI systems.
So it's not just about technical skills then. It's also about cultivating those uniquely human qualities that AI can't replicate. Things like empathy, emotional intelligence, the ability to connect with others on a deeper level.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. In a world where AI can automate a lot of those routine tasks, the human touch will become even more valuable.
You know, we talked earlier about ethical guidelines for AI development, and I think it's worth spending a little more time on that. As AI becomes more powerful and more accessible, how do we make sure that it's used responsibly and for the benefit of everyone?
That's the big question, isn't it? And there's no easy answer. It's a complex issue. It requires a multifaceted approach, ongoing dialogue, collaboration, and a commitment to transparency.
Can you give us some concrete examples of what those guidelines might look like in practice?
Sure. One really important principle is making sure that AI systems are fair and unbiased. This means carefully looking at the data that's used to train those AI models and developing algorithms that don't discriminate against anyone.
So it's about building those safeguards into the very core of AI, from the data it's trained on to the way it's designed and used.
Exactly. Another key principle is transparency. Like we talked about earlier, the open source nature of DeepSeek is a huge step forward. By making that code accessible to everyone, we create a system of checks and balances, which allows for more scrutiny and accountability.
It's like having a global team of watchdogs constantly keeping an eye on AI systems, making sure they're not being used for harmful purposes or perpetuating biases.
That's a great way to think about it. And it really emphasizes how important community involvement is in shaping the future of AI. This isn't something that we can leave solely to tech companies or governments to figure out. It requires a collective effort to ensure that AI is used ethically and for the benefit of all humankind.
You've given us a lot to think about today, but the incredible potential and the very real challenges of democratized AI. As we wrap up our deep dive into DeepSeek AI R1, what's the one thing you hope our listeners will take away from our conversation?
That's a great question. If I had to boil it down to one key takeaway, it would be this. The future of AI is not set in stone. It's something that we are all actively creating through our choices and our actions. DeepSeek AI R1 is a powerful tool, but it's up to us to use it wisely and responsibly. We have a responsibility to ensure that AI empowers humanity and doesn't diminish it.
That's a powerful message. And it really underscores why it's so important to stay informed, stay engaged, and be part of the conversations that are shaping the future of AI. The future is unfolding right now, and we all have a role to play in creating it.
Well said. It really is an exciting and challenging time, and I'm optimistic that if we work together, we can harness the incredible power of AI to create a better future for everyone.
Thank you so much for taking us on this incredible journey, exploring the world of DeepSeek AI R1. It's been enlightening and thought-provoking. And to our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep imagining the possibilities. Who knows what amazing things we'll create together in this new era of AI?